can read minds, but that doesn't mean I should. The ability has plagued me since birth. It's impossible to truly love anyone when you know their worst ideas and feelings. That's why few of us love ourselves. Horror lies in our unseen minds. Be honest. You know that to be so. Intrusive thoughts aren't indicative of our true selves. But I'm talking about the thoughts we do control. We all have dire dreams and sickening secrets. Things we only tell ourselves. And I'm talking about the minds of good people. This story isn't even about that. I could tell you plenty of terrible things that I've seen in good minds. No. This is the story of a train journey home. I'd much rather be married to Jason, one passenger lamented. I should accidentally send him a picture of... Oh, this is too easy. This girl believes anything I say. A man thought about his girlfriend. I wonder what Grandma has left for me in her will, one teenager wondered. I wish she'd hurry up and... The thoughts of everyday people. Nothing extraordinarily dreadful. I've heard worse. Yet, I've never heard anything quite as sinister as the thoughts of the man a few rows in front of me. Fresh soil and 11 roses for the garden, he thought. One for each of them. One for each of their hearts. Or succulents, perhaps. Yes. Succulent, joyous hearts. My garden shall be. His internal monologue abruptly ceased. All sound on the train ceased, in fact, other than the gardener's sluggish breathing. Slow, paced inhales and exhales. The stranger adjusted himself in his seat, and the framework of the chair creaked, as if it were under unbearable strain. I felt blood pool in my mouth, and I realized my teeth had clamped down onto my tongue. Adrenaline had blinded me to the agony. And then came something more awful than the silence. Hello, the gardener thought. Robin is such a lovely name. My throat seized, and fear paralyzed me. The man knew my name, and that meant two things. He knew I was reading his mind, and he was reading mine too. Don't be afraid, the man thought. You have such a pure heart, Robin. A real delicacy. Ticket, please. I swiveled to face the inspector in the aisle, and the sound of the carriage returned. I caught a glimpse of myself in the window. I was whiter than flour. Are you okay, love? The inspector asked. I cleared my throat. Yes, here. He inspected my ticket, nodded, and handed it back. Yeah, these late night trains are brutal, aren't they? You look a little rough, love. Might be worth getting an early night tonight. I'd love to get an early night with you, the inspector thought. You're so hot. I feigned a smile, ignoring his thoughts, and watched the inspector walk away. That was when I realized the gardener had disappeared. My body was quaking, and my jumbled thoughts were finally starting to come together. What was his name? I wondered. Often, I can read more than a person's thoughts. I can read an entire mind. But I'd never come across a slate as blank as this nameless man. He was a void. Jerry was a rude ticket inspector, wasn't he? The gardener suddenly asked in my mind. So awful to know what lies in the hearts of humans, isn't it? Chilled to the core, I spun around, but I couldn't see the stranger. And his heart would taste like ash, the gardener continued. Have you ever tried one, Robin? Who are you? I fearfully thought. Ah, there you are, my rose, the gardener whispered in my head. Have you ever eaten a heart? It's the greatest way to read a person. Next stop, Ansdale and Fairhaven, the train tannoy announced. Driven by crippling fright, I sprang to my feet and marched to the entryway by the double doors. I'd always believed myself to be the only person with this ability, and stumbling across someone with the same power might have been a blessing, if it hadn't been the gardener. Everything about that man was wrong. Robin, the gardener whispered. Take a look. His mind was a dense book, but I knew exactly where to look. The train slowly approached the station, and I cautiously twisted my head to the door at the end of the aisle. I knew I'd see something ghastly, something that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Through the window of the aisle door, I could see only the gardener and Jerry. His flailing body was being pressed to the ceiling by the gardener's abnormally large hands. I felt his unwavering fear. Not the garden, the inspector pleaded. Please, not the garden. You're not fit for the garden, Jerry, the malicious stranger thought. I have another plot of land for you. Jerry screamed in his mind. No! What is that? What is that? No, please, the garden. I want to go. With a resounding squelching noise, Jerry finally stilled his seizing, and the gardener let his victim's corpse clunk to the floor of the empty train carriage. In the bloody palms of his hands, the murderous man victoriously cradled the inspector's heart. Nobody else in my carriage had seen or heard a thing. Only I saw the inhuman man. Only I saw his lifeless eyes and terrible smile. There was nothing in his mind, nothing to read but blackness. And then, I see you, the gardener thought. The dark joy in the farthest corner of your mind. You're glad I put that pig out of his misery. You're happy. You're content. And that will only make your heart taste sweeter, Robin. The 12th rose in my garden. The train finally rolled to a stop at Ansdale and Fairhaven. I furiously jammed the open button with my index finger, squeezing through the half-open doors onto the platform. There, I waited in fear for the gardener to join me. But he didn't. The stranger observed me from the window of his empty carriage as the train pulled away. I locked my gaze onto his glazed eyes, preferring those lifeless spheres to the lips drenched in Jerry's blood. Not yet, the gardener thought, smiling horribly. I'll wait for your heart to ripen, Robin. That was 2 months ago, and I read about the grisly discovery of the train inspector's body on a local news site. It wasn't some fever dream on the late-night train. It really happened. I've barely slept since, I lie awake at night, feeling eyes upon me, not upon my body, but my mind. I feel the gardener rooting around in there, as if I were a rose in his flower patch. Sometimes, in a fit of fright, I see the curve of that carnivorous smile in the darkened corner of my bedroom, waiting to devour my heart. But fear is a good thing. I'll stay unhappy forever. After all, when I lower my guard and finally allow myself to enjoy life again, that's when he'll come for me. The gardener likes succulent, joyous hearts.